people, what's up? Welcome back, everybody. How you doing? Welcome. How's everybody doing today? We are a few seconds later than we should start, and I apologize. Technology was not playing fair today, but we are here, so let's get it popping. All right, and today is a very super important day because this is a stream that has been asked by many people, and I want to make sure that I get it done. All right, and I just want to say welcome. My name is Ed Harris. For those of you first joining me today for the first time, and for those that are coming back, welcome to all my peeps. You know who you are. All right, my text community, my Instagram fam, all of the good stuff. Let's move this over here. Let's get some more lighting up in this situation. All right, I was hoping to get my second camera so you can get a better close up of things, but like I said, technology was not playing fair, so I'll just do the old school way. Alrighty. Anyway, this is the Everything Vegan channel, and I am your host, Chef Ed Harris, the host with the most mushrooms. Today, we have a crazy variety, and I'm very excited about it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different types of mushrooms on this here situation for you today. All right, and I'm super excited about that. So let me adjust this a little bit more that way. Is that good? Yeah, we can go a little lower, and then I'll push that back. Yes, Pinky, now we're talking. All right, good. All right, so let's run through this really quickly. For those of you watching right now, if you would like, please join me on the chef's table. This way you can ask me questions that you've always wanted to ask about mushrooms, and I will gladly answer them for you. All right, I'm talking about whatever you need to know when it comes to mushrooms. Now is your chance. Ask. And for those of you watching this video later on, because I know a lot of people are at work, school, etc., leave a comment down below, and I will be happy to reply to you and fill you in on any details that you might have missed in this video. All right, so let's get down to it. I wanted to provide a variety of mushrooms because I know a lot of my family, my friends, my fans, the people that watch me, my peeps, right? They're always like, I don't know what kind of mushrooms to pick. I don't know how to pick them, how to choose them, which ones to choose, how to store them, what to buy, when to buy them, how to cook them, all that good stuff. So today, that's what we're doing. All right, I'm going to show you all of the above. So let's go into, I'll say, the mushroom that has the most neutral mushroom there is, right? The mushroom that doesn't really bring anything to the table but body, right? And body's good. We like body, but sometimes you need flavor, right? So let's jump into it. First things first, let's talk about packaging when it comes to mushrooms and buying mushrooms. 9 out of 10 times when you go to the supermarket, you're going to get mushrooms that come in some kind of clamshell or something like that, wrapped in plastic with a little bit of holes in it, right? To me, this is one of the worst ways to store mushrooms. Mushrooms need to breathe, right? When they're sealed up, they create this funk and they create condensation, added moisture, and they become something else. And I feel this is one of the major reasons why people don't like mushrooms, because it gets this funky smell from being wrapped up tight, right? And being in a cold place where moisture is dropping on it and it creates a really funky smell. Very almost fishy kind of smell to it. So as soon as you buy, if you can't get any kind of specialty mushrooms, or you can't get to a farmer's market and you're stuck with getting mushrooms that come in containers like this, as soon as you get home, take this plastic off, right? And let your mushrooms breathe and give it a smell. All right. If the smell is like really strong, then you might want to get rid of it. All right, but I'll leave that up to you to decide. Now, button mushrooms are your basic go-to. These are mushrooms that you find on pizza, the ones in the can. They're one of the cheapest mushrooms you can get, and they do the trick if you know how to cook them. All right. Now, in terms of when you get your mushrooms like this, there's a few things you want to look for, right? With your button mushrooms, you want to make sure that they're not a ton of blemishes on them. You want to make sure that they look clean for the most part. Button mushrooms will almost always have some debris on them. So, how do we clean our button mushrooms? Some people will tell you to wash them. Me, I do not like washing my mushrooms. If I have to wash my mushrooms, they're too dirty for me. So I don't even get them. All right. So consider me a mushroom snob. Okay. And you will be too once you understand and you really get to enjoy mushrooms. If you have never had them before or you always wanted to, then this is the stream for you. All right. Make sure to click the follow button. All right. Join me here on Kitsch. Make sure that you sign up for the newsletter. All right. And all that good stuff. But this way you can get all the details and all the alerts, right? But back to the cleaning. When you get your button mushrooms, you take it out of the container. You want to examine it. If it's not wet, then it's a good situation you got going on. But you want to take a regular paintbrush, right? And you want to just brush, just like that. You want to brush your mushrooms. If you can't brush your mushrooms to clean it, then you might have to wash them. Now, I never suggest washing mushrooms to anyone, right? But if you have to wash your mushrooms, then there's a few things you need to do. One, never let it sit in the water for too long. Like literally, you get a big bowl of water, drop them in, vigorously shake them up, get all the debris off, and immediately take it out of the water and put it on a towel so it can dry. You want to pat dry it. You want to get as much of that excess water off as possible, as fast as possible. Because think of mushrooms as a sponge. So the longer they sit in water is the more water they're going to take in. So then when you go to cook them, what do you think is going to happen? All that liquid is about to release into your saute pan. It's going to dilute your sauce. It's going to dilute your flavor. And then on top of all of that, it's going to cool down your pan to the point where now you're not searing and sauteing anymore. You're kind of stewing. And you're going to hope that you can get all of that liquid to evaporate or pour out. But then you're pouring out all of your beautiful sauce. You see where I'm getting at with this? So you never want to soak your mushrooms. You never want them to sit in water to clean them. All right. So when you're picking your mushrooms in the supermarket, you want to make sure that you kind of look through the packaging and make sure they look as clean as possible. If you're buying white button mushrooms and they look dark and there's like a lot of dark brown spots, don't get it. It's old. It's not good. All right. So they need to look like this. Beautiful, pristine, clean, very white mushrooms with almost no debris on them. Okay, so that's button mushrooms. And I'll tell you another thing about button mushrooms. Button mushrooms and portobello mushrooms are exactly the same mushroom. The only difference is their age. Button mushrooms are the very baby mushrooms. When they're left alone to grow, they turn into these babies right here. And that's how they get so big, right? Now, you can get button mushrooms like that. You can get another one called baby bellas, which literally look like button mushrooms, but they're just brown on the outside. It's literally the same thing. There's no flavor difference there. All right. But your portobellas, now these take a little bit more taken care of. All right. So portobellas, these are called caps, right? And they get massive. They get big, you see? So this is what you're looking at when you see your portobello. Now, there's a few things to pay attention to with a portobello. You can literally eat this stem as well, but if it's not trimmed properly, then you might want to do a little doctorate and just slice off the very bottom. But all of this right here is edible, right? Now, these lines here on the inside, these are called gills, right? And this is pretty much where the mushroom takes in whatever it is that it takes in, the oxygen, the air, the surrounding, and things like that. So there's a few things to pay attention to with this. depending on what you're making, you might want to get rid of the gills, right? If you're trying to do a really nice clean saute, then getting rid of your gills might be your best situation. But if you're going to roast them, you can leave them on. And the reason I say getting rid of them is because they will mark up your cutting board. They will get your sauce or your stir fry really dark because they kind of break down very easily, right? The other cool thing about button mushrooms is that you can peel them, right? And when I say peel, I don't mean taking a peeler to peel them, because with these, you don't really need to brush them. You don't need to wipe them unless you're going to leave the skin on. If you're going to leave the skin on, then you want to brush it. You want to take a damp paper towel or a rag, a damp rag, and you want to wipe them off. You don't want to wash these, all right? Because these are much more porous than some of the other mushrooms. So how do you peel them? Very simple. You don't even need a knife. You literally just go on the very bottom like this and you peel it up like that. How cool is that, right? So this is how you peel your portobello mushrooms, right? And you can do this all the way around. This helps with, say you want to do some kind of marination, you can totally do this. This way your marinade can get to this much easier and actually penetrate. Now, what would you use portobellos for? These are great for steak kind of ideas. These are great for braising. They're very hearty, meaty mushroom. So they'll take a beating. They don't break down. They don't lose a lot of body when you cook them. So they're great for things like that. So you can chop them up, use them for fillings, use them for stir fries. You can use these to batter them and make like some kind of patty with them, right? Like a breaded mushroom. These would be great for that. So that's what I would use things like these for, right? So these are our portobellos, all right? I hope I didn't go through that too fast, all right? But we do have a lot of mushrooms to tackle today. Okay, so that's done, our portobellos and our button mushrooms. Next up on the list is another one that 99.9999999% of the time comes packaged like this as well in here. Now, depending on where you get these from, they're going to be called one of two names, right? They're either going to be called beach mushrooms, and it's not the beach with the sand. It's BEECH, right? These are beach mushrooms. Another name for them would be hanjimijis, which is Japanese, or shimiji mushrooms, right? And these are really cool. They're very close to like enoki mushrooms, which are another very long stem kind of mushrooms with a very small cap. You see the caps on these? Very tiny, right? So I'm going to take this out of here because, of course, you need to know what we're doing with these, right? So as you can see right here, this is the very bottom. This is where it's starting to grow from. So you would get rid of all of that because this part is not edible. All right. But everything from there up is edible. These mushrooms are really great for pickling. Yes, pickle mushrooms. And I'm not talking about pickle like cucumber pickles, right? I'm talking about like a very quick pickle, a splash of vinegar, lemon juice, some salt and pepper, some kind of acidity. Even apple cider, even apple cider works really well with this. I do cumin, fennel, really nice flavors, bay leaves, onions. I quickly sear it, add that to it. It's really nice. And the thing about these, you don't want to take those and chop them up and put them into something because then you don't really get to see the beautiful mushrooms that they are. So these are those mushrooms that you want to present when you're cooking. So you want to kind of leave them intact, and instead of chopping it all the way up, you would leave them long like this and you would cook them like that. Now, I don't suggest this for people that are now getting into mushrooms because, some people are weirded out by just the way mushrooms look. So you definitely want to save these for people that love mushrooms already, or if you think you can hang, then go for it. But hanjimijis are really nice beach mushrooms. They're really nice. They get a nice sear and they pop when you eat them, which is really nice. The flavor kind of nutty in a way, but really delicious nonetheless, right? Let's move on down the list. Now, the three that I've spoken about, you can almost always get in a supermarket. And Another one to add to that are the king oyster mushrooms. Sometimes they're called trumpet mushrooms, hence, they look like a trumpet. Right? Massive, very cool. These are almost always clean. Like there's never a need to have to clean these. And I like them for a lot of things. I've used them to make bacon because you can slice them very thin. They're meaty. They withhold, they stand up to a beating. Like, so you can braise them, you can roast them, you can grill them. They're amazing for that. Um, I also use them for breading. They're great like that. Another thing that they're cool for is if you are vegan and you wanted to do a play on scallops, right? They're the perfect size to cut to make scallops, right? So you have perfect circles. So you wouldn't even need to do anything else but to cut these up into what a scallop would look like. And then you would score them the same way and sear them. Amazing. All right. These are great for stir fries. Like I said, they're great for grilling, braising. They take a beating, so you don't have to worry about, cooking it and it disappearing. Right. What else can I say about these? They're amazing. Right. So these are the trumpets or king oyster mushrooms. All right. Next up, we have hen of the woods. Yes, you heard me right. These beauties right here are called hen of the woods. They look like a fowl, one of the colorful brown fowls kind of thing. But hen of the woods, because some people say it tastes like chicken. To me, it don't really taste like chicken. But what I do love about these is the texture of them. They're very earthy. They have a very strong smell to them, but not like a overbearing smell. Just they smell very like natural. Very like, yes, this is from Earth. You know, from Earth as versus Mars. But no, seriously, they are really delicious. They sear really well. I mean, I love to just eat those by themselves. I'll just saute them with some butter, fresh thyme, some bay leaves, some chili, some shallots, salt and pepper. That's all you need. Maybe hit them with a little bit of parsley at the end. Really amazing. All right. I'm going to add a recipe to this stream that's very simple that you can use to saute any of your mushrooms with. All right. But hen of the woods, they're really great. Another name for them is maitake, which is really cool. It just sounds cool too. But they are really amazing. And these you almost never have to clean. They just come really clean, which is awesome. All right. You can brush them off if they look like they have stuff, debris in them or anything like that. But 9 out of 10 times they come super clean. And you really just have to slice off right here, the very bottom like that. That's it. That's the only part you have to get rid of. Everything else is edible, right? Which is really cool. And another cool thing about hen of the woods is you can bread them and deep fry them to make them look like a piece of chicken or something like that, if you're into that kind of thing, but they are really great for making deep fried stuff or even searing them and pressing them down flat, like taking a whole piece like this, marinating it and then just putting it into the saute pan, pressing it down. It becomes amazing. So that's another way you can cook your hen of the woods or maitake mushrooms. All right. And I'm telling you, just salt and pepper and some herbs will go a very long way with your mushrooms. I promise. All right. Now, for one of the exciting ones, all right, these here, look at these. Whoops, whoops, whoops. How cool do these look? So these are called cinnamon caps, right? And they are amazing. I love cooking with these. I get these from the farmer's market. All of this is edible except for what I'm holding. So all these stems you can eat, you can cook as well. They sear really nicely. These particular ones, you definitely don't want to store them in any kind of plastic or anything that's covered. They need to breathe because they get very sticky and they get very mushy very quickly. So open air is best for these mushrooms. Honestly, open air is best for all your mushrooms. When I buy mushrooms, I always keep them in paper bags in my refrigerator. And if I don't get to them, the paper bag helps to slowly dehydrate them and they last and I never have to throw them out. and they slowly dehydrate, and then I can reconstitute them with some warm water and then go to town on whatever it is that I need to do. But FYI, never store your mushrooms in plastic bags. Never store them in a closed container, an airtight container. It's a no. Either get mesh bags, breathable bags, or paper bags for your mushrooms, all right? Or put it on a tray just like this and keep it in the refrigerator. You know what I mean? If you have the space or the room, okay? So those are the cinnamon caps, which I love. And they kind of favor seafood in a way when you cook them. I love putting them in pasta. I love putting them into my rice. I mean, honestly, any mushroom I get, I put them in anything, because they're just really great. Actually, after this stream is done, I have some taco shells in the back. So I'm going to cook some of these during the stream, but then I'm also going to use that to make my tacos, right? So mushroom tacos, amazing, right? So we've done that. Another famous mushroom that actually needs to be cleaned, depending on where you get it from, is the OG shiitake, right? These are shiitake mushrooms, and the caps are beautiful, nice and thick, you see, right? Stems are edible up until the very end, depending on where you get it from and who harvests them. Some of them, the stems have a very woody stub, so you want to just kind of cut off the bottom, but I'd say at least 50-60% of the stem is edible, right? It's a little bit more fibrous, a little bit more chewy, but it's great, right? Now, cleaning these, right? Back to the pastry brush, you brush them, and these are like really nice and pristine, like they're super clean. But when you flip them over, the gills of the shiitake is much smaller than the portobellas, so you really need to get in there and just brush. And pastry brushes are great for that because you can't really wash out that area, but a pastry brush works really well, right? So that's how I clean my shiitake mushrooms. And shiitake mushrooms offer a natural umami. They also have a very natural nuttiness to them when you cook them. They're one of the mushrooms that are known in Asian food, and they are great for stir fries. They are great for, I use them in my fillings when I do like my veggie pies. They're great for stir fries as well. I put them in my vegetable fried rice. They're just a great mushroom to use. They smell amazing. They taste amazing. I've even made jerky with these as well. I've made jerky with the trumpets or king oyster mushrooms. Great mushrooms for jerky. You can even use the portobellas to do jerky. I haven't yet, so I'm not too familiar with the flavor of how it would be, but I like my more flavorful mushrooms. And this tray, every mushroom on this tray has a distinct, unique flavor that is just really amazing. All right, so I implore you to buy a variety of mushrooms and try them. You might love some more than you love some others, right? But the only way for you to know which one's your favorite, you have to try all of them, right? And I've tried so many more mushrooms than you see here. There are some called lobster mushrooms. There are morel mushrooms. There are porcini mushrooms. And those, whoo! When I tell you, those three that I just named, porcinis, lobster mushrooms, and morels, they are like top of the food chain, right? They are expensive for one. Lobster mushrooms are probably like $20-$30 a pound or an ounce. They're like insane. But if you can get your hands on some, game changer. Like you will look when you go to the supermarket and you see the button mushrooms and the portobellas, you're gonna be like, what's that? You guys are not mushrooms, right? Anyway, so that's that. Last but not least, I have here the oyster mushroom, right? Looks like, underwater oysters kind of thing, the corals and stuff like that. But these are amazing, right? Same thing. You just snip the bottom off right here. All the stem is edible, all right? These, you would brush the gills the same way, but these mushrooms I get from the farmer's market. So there is almost always never any cleaning to be done because they're done in a very clean environment. They're not just thrown into whatever it is, they're not mass produced, they're done with love. So they're amazing. And oyster mushrooms, they come in gray, pink, yellow, blue, and black, right? Depending on how they are grown. So oyster mushrooms have a ton of variety, and different colors offer slightly different nuances in terms of flavor. So if you ever can get your hands on a variety of different types of oyster mushrooms, go for it. You will not be disappointed. All right. So these are all the mushrooms I wanted to talk about today. I hope I've told you enough information to put you in a place where you feel comfortable enough, right? Feel comfortable enough to be able to go buy mushrooms, store them. And now for the cool part, right? I have some ginger and I have some garlic, right? And what we're gonna do is let me get some butter. We can use butter or we can use oil. I'll just use some butter because I'm feeling lazy, right? So we'll get some butter out. Now, very simple. I'm gonna just a little bit of garlic, a little bit of ginger. Just clean this up really quickly. Let me get my peeler, my blicky. All right, so let's peel this. All right, and I'm going to use my microplane to give me what I need from this ginger, right? Because I don't need too much of it, right? Get rid of this so you can see what's going on over here. All right, put that there. Let's get this garlic out of the way. Pan's getting hot. Yes. All right. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, mushrooms is the business. I'm telling you. And it offers so much, and it's such a great thing for the environment, for the world. I mean, I'm telling you. Okay. Microplane or my zester, right? This is for my ginger. Because I don't want to use my knife to chop up the ginger because it's going to be too much ginger. It's too chunky, and ginger doesn't break down when you cook it like garlic or onions do. You know what I mean? All right, let's do a little bit more. And you want to be very careful when you're using one of these kind of equipment because they will take your skin off. That I promise you. Okay, so we'll put that there to the side. I have my ginger, my garlic. Pan is getting hot. Now I'm gonna take my oyster mushrooms, literally, and we're gonna just like this. See? You can also use your hands, right? You can also use your hands to rip these apart. Let's do oil, a little bit of that. All right. We have our mushrooms. I'll do some of the maitakes because I just yummy. Okay. All right. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Let's add a little bit of butter in there. And now let's go in with our garlic and ginger. Let's turn this here so you can see. All right, turn on the vent. Okay, it's nice and brown. Boom. Right? Okay, so let's get our salt and pepper. All right, get our sea salt action. And then we're gonna let this just cook. Very simple, very easy. I'm gonna get my soy sauce. All right, because we're gonna make this slightly Asian. What can I say? I love making Asian flavors. Hold on one second. Okay, here we go. All right, awesome. We get a spoon. Let's crank this up. Yes. And get some scallions, because we're gonna finish it with some scallions, right? Gotta have a little fresh herbs, to go with the mushrooms, right? Okay. No escaping, scallion, no escaping. Now, a trick, not really a trick, but more like a tip. It's super, super important. When you're cooking mushrooms, you never want to, one, overcrowd your pan. Right? If you're trying to get color, you don't want to overcrowd your pan. And once you put your mushrooms into your pan, you want to make sure that your pan is nice and hot. And two, once you put the mushrooms in, leave it alone. Don't toss it, don't spoon it up, don't turn it, don't do anything. Just leave it be so it can develop that color. Once it develops that color, then you can give it a toss like I did. See, I put it in, I let it sit for a minute before I tossed it around. All right, super, super important. Okay, and you want to remember that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Now we have some golden color. Our garlic is nice and brown. Everything is where we need it to be. I'm gonna hit it with a splash of soy, right? Yes. You hear that sizzle? Thank you, thank you. All right. Now, I'll hit it with a touch of sesame oil, because like I said, we're doing an Asian flavor today, right? So where is my sesame oil? Okay. I guess I don't have any more sesame oil. Well, you'll go without sesame oil. So let's add our scallions. Boom. Real simple, real easy. All right? Give this a nice toss. Look at that. All right? And it's done. So, really simple. Take a taste. So yummy. And it's so simple to make, right? So you can do this with any kind of mushroom you want. The whole idea is to make sure that you cut it properly, one, and two, you season it properly. Super, super important. What's up? How you doing?
Hi.
How's
Good.
everything?
How are you?
Good. Yeah, I'm just running through this stuff, but we are finally done cooking up all these. Look at all of these I got.
Looks great.
It's like a ton of them. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, sauteed mushroom works really well. It doesn't even matter what kind of mushrooms you have. The most important thing, like I said, is to get that initial sear so you can develop that color, because once you get that caramelization, that's one way to really develop flavor for your mushrooms. It's super, super important, because the minute you overcrowd your pan and you don't let your mushrooms get color and they start to sweat, you lose an opportunity to really develop flavor. And that's one of the reasons I feel a lot of people don't like mushrooms, because when they taste it, it's just very bland and just lacking in flavor. And it's just a missed opportunity. So make sure you get your seasonings right, make sure you get your mushrooms right, and remember to not overcrowd the pan. That's super important. And make sure you start with a very hot pan. All right. Once you do that, I think you're going to be good to go. And if you have any questions, I'm here. Just type it up, leave me a message, and I will be happy to answer and let you know, whatever it is that you need. All right. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out of here. Thank you so much. And I will see you later on. We have some really cool things in store this month. I can't wait to share it with you. And until next time, thank you, thank you, thank you. Later, everybody. See ya.